Wondering where all these exotic flowers came from? You may not recognize many of these flowers, but all of these flowers are a part of India's biodiversity. Can you guess the number of flowering plants found in India? About 15,000. This accounts for 6% of the world's total number of flowering plants. In fact, India is one of the 12 mega biodiversity countries of the world. Here are a few facts to prove it. India has about 47,000 plant species. This makes it 4th in Asia and 10th in the world in terms of plant diversity. We already looked at the diversity of flowering plants. India also has many non-flowering plants such as ferns, algae and fungi. However, biodiversity is not restricted to plant life. India boasts of 89,000 species of animals. India's rivers, lakes and seas provide us with a rich variety of fish. Here is a comparison between the number of species in India and the world. As you can see, India houses almost 13% of all the species of birds and almost 12% of all the species of fish found in the world. Let's return to the plants found in India. Some of these plants and trees grew naturally, while others were cultivated. A plant community that has grown naturally without human aid is called natural vegetation. For example, deciduous forests found in India represent natural vegetation. However, fields of wheat and rice and orchards of fruits like mangoes and oranges are cultivated vegetation and not part of India's natural vegetation. Natural vegetation that has been left undisturbed by humans for a long time is called virgin vegetation. Some units of virgin vegetation in India are found in sacred groves. Sacred groves are forests that have been protected for ages by traditional societies. Some of the more famous groves are the Kavus of Kerala. These groves, known for their enormous biodiversity, are located in the Western Ghats. The Lavkintangs of Meghalaya are also sacred groves associated with every village to appease the forest spirit. Virgin vegetation that is purely Indian is known as endemic or indigenous species. On the other hand, plants that have come from outside India are termed exotic plants. Some species of orchids are examples of exotic plants. The Acampe is a genus of 7 orchid species distributed from tropical Africa to India. Biodiversity in a region typically refers to its flora as well as fauna. Flora refers to the plants of a particular region or period. Similarly, Fauna is the collective term for the species of animals in a particular region or period. So, what is the cause of this huge diversity in the flora and fauna kingdom? This diversity is caused by relief and climate in a region. We look at each of these factors in detail. Relief in a region includes the land and the soil type found there. The features of land in a region affect its natural vegetation. That's why the vegetation in mountainous, plateau and plain areas, or in dry and wet regions, is different. For example, the main vegetation found in dry areas, like deserts, is cacti and scrub, while tropical areas that get heavy rainfall have dense rainforests. Typically, the fertile area in a region is devoted to agriculture. And what happens to undulating and rough terrains? Well, these areas are very vital to sustain our biodiversity. These areas form grasslands and woodlands and give shelter to a variety of wildlife. Different types of soils provide the basis for different types of vegetation. For example, if you analyze the soil in the desert, you will find that it is sandy. Along with the dry climate, sandy soil is suitable for the growth of cacti and thorny bushes. Conversely, there is the wet, marshy, deltaic soil, like that in the Sundarban Delta. This soil supports mangroves and deltaic vegetation. Now let's consider hilly slopes, where there is a relatively deeper layer of soil. You will find an abundance of conical trees on such hills. The second factor that impacts diversity in flora and fauna is the climate of a region. When we talk of climate, we are basically referring to three aspects of a region, namely the temperature, the photoperiod or duration of sunlight, and precipitation. These aspects, along with the soil and land type, determine the type and extent of vegetation. For example, let's look at the conditions on the slopes of the Himalayas and the hills of the peninsula above a height of 915 meters. At this height, the temperature of the air falls. This fall in the temperature is the reason why the vegetation at this level changes from tropical to subtropical, temperate, and alpine vegetation. Here is a table that helps you map various vegetation zones to the temperature found in each zone, and resulting in various climatic conditions. For example, alpine vegetation is found in regions where the mean annual average temperature is below 7 degrees Celsius. As the temperature rises, the type of vegetation slowly changes. The second aspect of climate, photoperiod, refers to the duration of sunlight in a region. A longer duration of sunlight is the reason why the southern slopes in the Himalayan region are covered by thicker vegetation cover. as compared to the northern slopes of the same hills. In fact, you may have noticed that trees and plants grow faster in summers than in winters. This is because of the longer duration of sunlight in summers. Thus, the duration of sunlight received by a region is affected by the season. The other factors that determine the duration of sunlight are the latitude of a region, the altitude of a region, and the duration of the day. Did you know? In each hemisphere, the higher is the latitude, the shorter is the day in winters. Finally, let's look at the last aspect of climate: precipitation or rainfall. Areas of heavy rainfall typically have more dense vegetation as compared to areas of less rainfall. It is important to note that almost all the rain in India is brought in by the advancing southwest monsoon from June to September and the retreating northeast monsoons. This explains an interesting phenomenon. A comparison of the vegetation on the slopes of the Western Ghats shows that the western slopes are covered by thick forests, unlike the eastern slopes, where the vegetation is sparse. This is because when the southwest monsoons encounter the western slopes, they shed most of the water there. Consequently, there is little water left for the eastern slopes. That was a quick overview of causes of biodiversity. Forests are important for us because they are renewable resources that affect our environment in a variety of ways. Let's look at some of the ways in which forests affect us. To begin with, forests affect the climate in a variety of ways. For example, when surfaces are screened by forest cover, they do not receive the full force of solar radiation, and the heat and light received by this surface are reduced. This reduces the temperature inside a forest. Similarly, a tree cover slows wind speed and thus controls wind force. The trees, in addition, draw moisture from the soil through their roots and spread it in the air through their leaves. The additional moisture in the air can trigger more precipitation. Another way in which forests impact climate is by counteracting the effect of pollution caused by the burning of fossil fuels. Carbon dioxide released by the burning of fossil fuels can lead to global warming and climatic change. Trees and forests help alleviate these changes by removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and converting it into carbon during photosynthesis. During this process, oxygen is released from trees. That's not all. Trees help control soil erosion as the roots of trees hold the soil together. In addition, they improve soil quality by providing humus to the soil. Humus comprises remains of dead and decayed plants and animals. They provide shelter to wildlife and thus help maintain a balance in nature. During rainfall, the forest soil absorbs water and reduces runoff of water flowing into the streams. This helps regulate stream flow. Forests also support a variety of industries, thus helping provide livelihood for many communities. Finally, the scenic beauty and panoramic views offered by forests make them popular for recreation. But here's an unfortunate fact about India's forests. There are very few areas left in India where the vegetation can be called natural in the true sense of the word. These areas are found mostly in some inaccessible regions like the Himalayas, the hilly region of central India and the Marusthali, parts of the desert. In most other areas, the vegetation has been modified, replaced, or degraded by human occupancy. According to the Environment Atlas of India, June 2001, the actual forest cover in India in 2001 was only 20.55%. Here is a bar graph with the details. As you can see, the Union Territory of Delhi and the states of Punjab and Haryana have the least percentage area under forest cover. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands, on the other hand, have most of their land under forest cover. What is the reason for this? A number of factors have caused extensive modification of vegetation and depletion of forest cover. Some of these factors are growing demand for cultivated land, the development of industries and mining, urbanization, and overgrazing of pastures. For example, in Punjab and Haryana, a high percentage of land is under cultivation. On the other hand, Delhi is highly urbanized and more land is constantly being claimed for residential buildings, roads and commercial complexes. Did you know the Van Mahotsav is a forest festival started in 1950 by K.M. Munshi, the then Union Minister for Agriculture and Food. The purpose of this festival was to create enthusiasm among the masses for forest conservation and planting trees. This festival of tree planting is organized every year in the month of July. It lasts for a week and millions of trees are planted across India during this festival. Vegetation varies across areas, as you may have noticed. The cacti that form a major part of the vegetation in the desert areas of Rajasthan look very different from the tropical trees seen in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, or the mangrove trees in the Sundarban Delta. That's because plants grow in distinct groups of communities, where each community belongs to an area with similar climatic conditions. Further, the animal life in an area depends on the kind of vegetation available in that area. For example, not many large mammals can subsist on the scanty vegetation of a desert. Therefore, The fauna in a desert consists of small rodents, rabbits, rats, moles, and fox-like creatures. When the vegetation in an area changes, the animal life also changes. However, this is not a one-way relationship. All plants and animals in an area are interdependent and interrelated to each other in their physical environment. Together, the flora, the fauna, and the physical environment of an area form an ecosystem. And where do human beings figure in ecosystems? Human beings are an integral part of the ecosystem. In fact, they can have a huge impact on an ecosystem. They utilize the vegetation and wildlife for food, medicine, and a variety of other purposes. When the utilization of these resources is not regulated, ecological imbalance can result. For example, because of indiscriminate cutting of trees and killing of animals by human beings, some plants and animals are almost extinct today. The dodo is an example of a species of bird that is completely extinct due to extensive hunting and killing. In the 18th century, the cowhide tree in New Zealand became extinct due to deforestation. A very large ecosystem on land with distinct types of vegetation and animal life is called a biome. A biome can be considered as a group of many similar ecosystems throughout the world. For example, the map shows the tropical rainforest biome. An ecosystem can be as large as a desert and as small as a puddle. A biome is much bigger than an ecosystem. Biomes are identified on the basis of plants, mountains, deserts, grasslands, oceans, and wetlands are all examples of biomes. For example, the mangroves in the Ganges Delta in Bangladesh and West Bengal, India, are part of a biome referred to as the wetlands. The major types of vegetation in India are tropical evergreen forests, tropical deciduous forests, tropical thorn and scrubs forests, montane forests, and mangrove forests. Tropical evergreen forests are characterized by heavy rainfall and a warm climate. For example, the forests along the western slopes of the Western Ghats can be classified as tropical evergreen forests. Other areas with evergreen forests in India are the archipelagos of the Lakshadweep Islands and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the coastal areas of Tamil Nadu and parts of Assam. These areas receive more than 200 centimeters of rainfall. In addition, the climate in these areas is warm and wet for most of the year, resulting in evergreen forests. This is an ideal condition for thick foliage like trees, shrubs, and creepers. The commercially important trees grown in this area are ebony, mahogany, rosewood, rubber, and cinchona. These forests also have a variety of animals like elephant, monkey, lemur, and deer. The endangered one-horned rhino is found in these jungles in Assam and West Bengal. A variety of birds, bats, sloth, scorpions, and snails are also found in these jungles. The next type of forest is tropical deciduous forests, which makes up most of the forest area in India. These forests depend on the monsoon and hence are also known as monsoon forests. The rainfall in these areas is in the range of 70 to 200 centimeters. This is a wide range, and hence there is a further classification in the forests on the basis of the rainfall they receive. The areas that receive between 100 and 200 centimeter rains are known as moist deciduous forests, like some parts of the northeastern states along the foothills of the Himalayas, Jharkhand, western Orissa, Chhattisgarh, and along the eastern slopes of the Western Ghats. Commercially important trees here include teak, bamboo, sal, shisham, sandalwood, kher, kusum, arjun, and mulberry. On the other hand, the areas that receive between 70 and 100 centimeter rainfall are classified as dry deciduous forests. For example, the plains of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. These are sparsely populated with the teak, sal, peepal, and neem trees. The animals commonly found here are elephants, lions, tigers, and deer. A variety of birds, lizards, snakes, and tortoises are also found here. The next type of forest is thorn forests and scrubs. Unlike evergreen and deciduous forests, the vegetation in thorn forests and scrubs is restricted to thorn plants and scrubs due to scanty rainfall. These types of forests are common in regions below 70 centimeter of rainfall, like the semi-arid areas of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh, and Haryana. The trees and plants in these regions are scattered, so the vegetation is very sparse. Accordingly, the trees and plants have also adapted themselves to survive in this harsh environment. The roots of trees grow very long and deep to access precious water and moisture from deep inside the soil. The stems of these plants are fleshy to conserve water for a longer period. The leaves are like thorns to minimize evaporation. Trees like the acacias, palms, euphorbias, and cacti are common here. A host of animals have also adapted to these conditions, some of them being rabbits, foxes, wolves, tigers, lions, horses, and camels. Did you know that India is the only country in the world that has both tigers and lions? India's rich biodiversity provides a natural habitat for both these animals of prey. The next type of forests that we look at are montane forests, which are found in the mountainous regions. Montane forests, found primarily in Jammu and Kashmir and Arunachal Pradesh, are very different in their makeup from other types of forests, as the temperature and soil conditions are different on different altitudes. Broadly speaking, the natural vegetation here is in the same succession as you would find in areas ranging from the tropics to the tundras. For example, at an altitude of 1000 to 2000 meters, wet temperate types of forests are found. Here, you will find evergreen broadleaf trees like oak and chestnut trees, found mostly in the eastern Himalayas and the western Ghats. If you move higher to around 1500 to 3000 meters, you will see temperate forests with coniferous trees like pine, deodar, and silver fir are found in the southern Himalayas and also in some parts of the Nilgiri hills. However, in case of the Nilgiri hills, the original trees are rapidly being replaced by the more commercial eucalyptus trees. Slightly above these altitudes are the temperate grasslands, which are extensively used by nomadic tribes like the Gujjars and the Bakarwals. At higher levels, above 3600 meters, alpine vegetation like junipers and birches are found. Higher than this forms part of the tundra vegetation, where mosses and lichens are found. The animals found in these forests are the Kashmir stag, spotted deer, wild sheep, jackrabbit, Tibetan antelope, yak, snow leopard, and various other animals. Did you know a tree line is the edge of the habitat, beyond which there is no vegetation due to severe weather conditions? In India, the tree line is at 4,400 meters on the Himalayas. Finally, we have the mangrove forests, usually found in coastal areas. Mangroves are a variety of plants and trees with their roots submerged in water. The roots of these trees and plants are held by the mud and silt that accumulate on these coasts. Dense mangrove forests are found in the deltas of the Ganga, the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri. Trees of commercial value like the Sundari, palm, coconut, Kiora and agar are found in these forests on the delta. Wild animals such as the Royal Bengal tiger, crocodile, gharial, turtle and snake are found here. India has a rich biodiversity and is home to around 1.6 million or nearly 8% of all the species of flora and fauna found in the world. India is also home to over 86,000 species of fauna. These include birds, insects, and land and water animals. Besides being the only country to have both lions and tigers in its forests, India is one of the few countries that have a habitat to support large land animals like the elephant. Elephants are the most imposing of all land creatures, found in the hot, wet forests of Assam, Karnataka and Kerala. The one-horned rhino is found in the swampy and marshlands of Assam and West Bengal. The Thar Desert provides a natural habitat for the camel. Other large land animals include the wild ass, the Indian bison, the Nilgai, blue bull and the chow singha. The Himalayas also harbour some large land animals like the yak and the shaggy-horned wild ox, found in the freezing high altitudes of Ladakh. Other animals here include the Tibetan antelope, the bharal or the blue sheep, the wild sheep and the kiang or the Tibetan wild ass. Some rare species of wild animals include the snow leopard, the red panda, the ibex and the Himalayan brown bear. The wildlife in the Indian rivers, lakes and coastal areas is equally rich with various species of reptiles like crocodiles and gharials, water snakes and turtles. Did you know the largest living crocodile known is 7.1 meters or 23 feet long saltwater crocodile in the Bhitarkanika Wildlife Sanctuary in Orissa, India. India has a wide variety of colorful birds. The birds that inhabit the forests and wetlands of India are peacocks, pheasants, ducks, parakeets, cranes and pigeons. Different types of migratory birds come to the wetlands of India in winter. A large number of Siberian cranes fly to the Rann of Kutch in Gujarat. The brightly coloured pink plumage flamingos come in thousands to build their nests on the salty mud in Gujarat where the desert meets the sea. The animals, birds, insects and fish are selected from a large variety of stock provided by nature. there are over 940 different species of fish in India. These include the flying fish, the needlefish, the rice fish, and the Bombay duck. A large number of these fish make up a part of highly nutritive food for human beings as well as animals. A wide variety of insects and moths, with 10,000 species of moth alone, like the beautiful Luna moth, are seen here. Insects help in the pollination of flowers, crops, and fruit trees. Overexploitation and the greed for commercial profits from our environment have led to large-scale degradation of the flora and fauna in India. The Government of India has taken some concrete steps to ensure the conservation of our rich wildlife and vegetation. In order to preserve world biodiversity and our natural heritage, 14 biosphere reserves have been set up in the country. Out of this list, 4 have been included in the World Network of Biosphere Reserves. They are the Sundarban in West Bengal, the Nanda Devi in Uttaranchal, the Gulf of Mannar in Tamil Nadu, and the Nilgiris spanning across Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. The government also provides financial and technical support for many of the botanical gardens since 1992. To protect wildlife, the Government of India has introduced Project Tiger, Project Rhino, and Project Great Indian Bustard. In addition, there are 89 national parks and 490 wildlife sanctuaries and zoological gardens in India to take care of our flora and fauna.